Hey everybody, it's your host, Diana Chen, and you're listening to an episode of MINIHASH, a condensed episode of Rehash where we do a deep dive into one focused topic with a past guest. Hope you enjoy. Alexis, welcome to Rehash. This is an episode that we've been trying to get recorded for a while. Safe was a gracious sponsor of Rehash at DevCon in Bangkok all the way back in November. And I'm super excited to talk to you today about Safe and how you guys are using AI to enhance financial systems, which I'm really excited to learn more about from you. So
Awesome.
First of all, welcome. Thank you so
you.
much for being here.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, completely different continent, I guess, from DevCon, but
Totally.
super excited to be here. It's a really good event. And yeah, there's so much AI focus here at East Denver this year. I'm super excited. It's something that I'm personally working on very intensely at Safe. So yeah, it's been super exciting, had lots of really good conversations, and yeah, really looking forward to talking to you, letting you know a bit more what we're doing at Safe.
For sure. To start off, can you just give us a little background about, just who you are so people have some context? I know you're the Global Partnerships Manager at Safe currently, but tell us a little bit about your background, just a quick TLDR before we dive into the substance of this.
Sure, super quick TLDR. So got interested in blockchain technologies, I guess, around 2013, 2014. Didn't take it very seriously until a couple of years later where I did one of the first masters in digital currencies at the University of Nicosia. After that, did a couple of years at a company called Ramp Network, which facilitates on and off ramp payments, and I've been with Safe for about a year. Official title is Global Partnerships Manager. Right now, anything AI related goes through me, and that's something I'm super passionate about and very excited.
Super cool. So I want to start kind of big picture and just ask you, like when you look at the AI landscape and where it interacts with financial systems today, give us an overview of like where we're at in that landscape today.
So I think what we saw in the last 3 months was the initial bubble and hype that got attracted and created and attracted a lot of new capital into the market. We saw a lot of new agents and agent platforms being spun up, which is super cool and interesting. And that's obviously gone down a bit with the market now, but as always, you're always going to see this intense peak, which is followed by real builders building real applications, right? So there's a lot of different ways that you were seeing AI interface with DeFi, I guess, financial applications. There's also a lot of interesting projects being built around traditional finance and also financial services, which could be aided with AI. And yeah, this falls under the broader spectrum, I think, of what we're currently decided to coin DEFAI or DeFi. Or however you want to call it.
Yeah. How, just real quick, how have you been seeing AI implemented in like TradFi versus in DeFi?
So there's a lot of things that you can do on the kind of financial advisory kind of things. So more on the advice side at the moment, not actually doing any trading on financial systems, but in terms of people who want to, let's say, have an AI-powered financial manager, there's some really cool applications being spun up there.
Gotcha. Okay, well, I want to learn a little bit more about specifically how you guys have been using AI or thinking about using AI agents at Safe. So give us an overview of how people have been using AI agents with Safe smart accounts.
Yeah, definitely. So a bit of history, or maybe a bit more context about Safe. So at Safe, we have the user interface, which is the wallet, which is what a lot of people know and use over the past 7 years. But we also have the developer tooling, which we call internally SafeCore. And SafeCore is responsible for powering around 200 to 300 applications across Web3. So for example, if you're a Polymarket user or a WorldCoin user or Gnosis Pay user or any of our other 200 or 300 applications that are powered by Safe smart contracts, then you might have a Safe and you don't even know about it. So this is a very flourishing developer community, and as with a lot of the interest coming into the AI at the moment, a lot of our newer developers and existing developers are retooling the SafeCore contracts to be able to be used with AI. So we've been seeing some really cool, interesting applications, and we've been supporting their efforts to make AI agents and AI integrations much friendlier for builders to use by releasing new tooling, new documentation, and also building out different kinds of plugins for AI users to be able to integrate Safe into their agent platforms already. So right now you can find Safe on the Goat framework, ELIZA, Vercel, and LangChain. And we're planning to add Safe compatibility anywhere where developers are building agentic applications.
Can you give us some examples of how you've seen developers already implementing AI agents into their apps, just so we have a better idea of like what's possible in this realm?
Most definitely. So we have about quite a few agents or different applications that have been built. A really exciting one is Freyja. They have a booth here at the conference. So they just launched their Act 5, which is digital twin. And what the digital twin is kind of a game, a virtual game, where you create a digital twin of yourself, and that digital twin then competes in this MMORPG social/games against other AI agents. You might be familiar with Rehash in that they launched these types of games where all the funds are held in a safe and you have to convince the agent to either fall in love with you or break the code or get them to transfer their funds to you. And as this develops, it's kind of like battle-proofing the protocol to understand how the LLM itself can protect against different kinds of malicious attacks or different kind of access vectors into the safe, essentially. So it's just users trying to trick the LLM to send them funds. Other different applications we've seen that are super exciting are, for example, different kinds of automated AI rebalancing strategies. So for example, where you have an AI agent that controls your funds and looks for different yields across different DeFi protocols that are whitelisted by the users and is able to implement different kinds of strategies and execute them on behalf of the users. There's also really interesting things happening around governance and how we might be able to use AI agents through safe smart contracts to participate within DAOs and give, let's say, either opinions or information or advice to the users by proposing transactions that they think the user would vote, let's say, in the DAO. So just making everything and opening access and being a bit more democratic, let's say.
Yeah, okay, so there's so many good examples. There's like the fun, entertaining game side of things. There's the security side of things. There's DeFi, there's DAOs. Let's imagine in a DAO situation.
Yeah.
I have been talking to, I don't know if you've heard of Mother, but I've been talking to like Disruption Show about Mother and things like that. And it sounds like, I don't have a very deep understanding of it yet, but it sounds like what it is, it's essentially training an AI agent or an LLM to act on behalf of the DAO members or the community. Can you talk a little bit more about how that would work? And like give us an example of how you see this playing out in the context of an actual DAO.
Sure, so there's a lot of work being done that's super interesting around governance and AI agents specifically. So in the example of creating a digital twin, for example, you could train an LLM specifically on your data and your preferences in regards to how you would vote on a DAO and what kind of things you would be interested in participating in. So how you would train the AI agent specifically isn't exactly, so you wouldn't see the DAO proposal and the AI agent would ask you, do you want to vote for this proposal or not? But maybe the AI agent would be confident and intelligent enough to be able to ask different kind of questions to get your intent and understand a bit more about how you're thinking and how you would potentially engage in different kinds of DAOs and what kind of activities you'd want to participate in. And then through a safe multisig, for example, you could have the agent be the proposer. So they would propose different votes for you. And then before you sign anything, you could have a quick review, you could get a quick summary from the AI agent, and then you could publish that essentially. And you could help essentially minimize the work that you would have to do on any one individual level to minimize the governance participation without having to delegate that participation to another human being.
Gotcha. I can see this being really useful because I'm part of probably too many DAOs that I admit that I'm not the best active member in, and it would be super helpful if I could have an AI agent send me basically like a quick summary paragraph about this is the new proposal that's up. This is, what we think you would vote on based on what we understand about your values and your past voting patterns and things like that. And then it's just a matter of one click for me, like reading a paragraph in one click.
Yeah, and as the AI agent evolves and you're more and more confident with the decisions it's making on your behalf, you can just let it run governance while, basically. You can just have it automatically approve your proposals as soon as you're confident enough.
Yeah, that's super interesting. Do you see any Black Mirror type scenarios, like anything that can go wrong or like anything that really worries you or keeps you up at night when you think about using AI agents in this way?
So I wouldn't say keep me up at night, but what's quite interesting is that you have a lot of these AI agent marketplaces popping up, and a lot of people are getting some decent funding to build these out, where essentially you can build out a marketplace where different agents compete against humans to complete specific tasks. And because I think what we're going to see is a lot of AI agents doing a lot of the volume and just trading and even holding different kinds of assets under management within safes or outside safes in the next few months and participating actively in DeFi, I think what we're actually going to see is a lot of AI agents psyoping other AIs. So I'll give you an example. Let's say you have an AI agent that has its own safe smart account, And that Safe Smart account has different kind of limitations and parameters that you can set on it via the modular framework and architecture of the Safe Smart account. So for example, maybe we say it can only interact with other AI agents or within certain protocols, or it can do deposits on specific lending protocols and specific pools to eliminate the risk of the AI agent being tricked. But these AI agents, essentially, they make decisions on what they think is a good trade and what's not a good trade based on on-chain and off-chain data that they're getting through different kinds of APIs. So you could see marketplaces being created where either humans or other AI agents are financially incentivized to get another agent to maybe buy their token or make some kind of wrong financial decision. So it's going to be really interesting how we're going to see all these different kinds of agents interact within DeFi and trying to get other agents to do what they're willing, basically.
Yeah, it's almost like instead of just dealing with scammers, human scammers in real life, which we still haven't been able to get rid of over all of these years, now we have AI agents that are posing as scammers and bad actors as well. I'm curious, like as a human, when I am maybe faced with a scam or something, I can go, for example, into Telegram groups with trusted members. If it's a technical hack that I'm concerned about, I can maybe consult with my developer friends or technical friends and ask them to review the code or advise me in that way. But if I have an AI agent that's trained to, for example, vote on my behalf in a DAO, and it somehow gets found and scammed and tricked by a bad actor, another AI agent that's a bad actor, how does my AI agent evaluate that or prevent their knowledge base from being tainted by the scammer AI agent?
Yeah, so there's different ways that different teams are looking at training their model on specific different kinds of applications. DAO subnets are a really popular use case at the moment, especially around prediction markets, and it's a way to limit the inference and data that your agent is getting to make these decisions. I think as we see a lot of these agentic applications advance and develop, and obviously we're also seeing the models become smarter and smarter, and different teams becoming more efficient at using them, there'll be solutions that pop up to everything like that. But it's a very interesting and exciting space. It's growing very fast. We're going to try a lot of things. A lot of things are going to fail, but I'm really confident and optimistic that I think blockchain will be one of the core use cases and where AI agents will thrive. So at Safe, our mission is to make sure that every agent has access to on-chain capabilities, and we're primarily facilitating that through providing them with a safe, smart contract that is modular, flexible, adaptable, and you can fine-tune it to however you want. Think of it a bit more as training wheels for your agent. And then beyond that, we think that it's going to be cross-chain, on-chain, off-chain. You're going to have an AI agent, essentially, that interacts with everything and anything. It's a bit like, I guess, the Internet of Things, a kind of narrative that we were working on around 2016, 2017, but AI agent powered, where everything has some kind of intelligence and everything can interact with everything else.
Totally. Well, I'm curious, what is it about blockchain that makes you super bullish about AI? Like you just said, you think AI's applicability will be strongest on chain. Why is that?
So a common theme that we've had in the crypto industry, I think at least since I've been actively involved, is that we're trying to solve UX. Once we solve UX, we'll be able to onboard the masses. It's a much better solution. It's interoperable, it's cheaper, you can do remittances, you can do everything. But actually, when you think about it, AIs don't really care about UX. What we've built is perfect for AI agents. It's seamless, it's cheap, they can jump from chain to chain, they can transact between prediction markets, financial markets, traditional financial markets, DeFi farming, everything like that. And we have safe, secure architecture that they're able to do this from and within. It's also permissionless, so no AI agent will need to come and ask Safe for permission to spin up their own account and to manage their own funds or treasury. They can all do that on chain. So just the fact that it's neutral, permissionless, open source means that AI agents can go look on chain, evaluate, and make their own decisions about how they want to integrate within the blockchain. And I don't think any kind of traditional financial system makes sense for them to do that at the moment. So I think, it's where blockchain really finds its use case.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. This might be getting a little bit technical, but I am curious to know more about the back end of what goes into training an AI agent, and specifically like the way that Safe approaches, giving an AI agent autonomy to make these decisions while also maintaining some sort of human oversight? Like, where do you draw that line? To me, in my head, it seems like a very fine line that's like very easy to cross or get on the wrong side of.
Yeah. So there's a framework that a lot of industry leaders have been using, which is the 5 levels of autonomy, whereby you have different types of agents that are interacting both on-chain and off-chain. It's more of a general kind of autonomy and agentic kind of framework that you can think about. At Safe, we think about it in a similar kind of structure, but where you can add different kinds of safeguards to your agent and provide it with more agentic freedom and on-chain expressivity, let's say, as you are more confident about how your model is developing. So we don't do any training or developing of models internally at Safe. We let our builders do that, and we just provide the infrastructure in doing that. But I'll give you an example. So the first version of agents were, let's say, the more mimetic agents that have come up. For example, you had Goat, was I guess the first big one. That wasn't really an agent per se. I mean, it interacted off-chain and could read some kind of on-chain data, but all it had was a contract that was attached to a wallet, and people would send funds and everything like that. Moving and making a bit more advancements and providing your agent with a safe, for example, on the first stage you could have the agent that proposes transactions but has the human sign them. You can then at the later stage have the agent propose and execute its own transactions. You could have an agent that has its own kind of DAO or treasury management and that controls other agents, which are sub-accounts within the Safe Smart Contract framework and architecture. And all of this can be limited and controlled by, again, as mentioned previously, our modules. So you could have spending limits for your agent, you could have time locks, delays, multi-sig configurations. Think of it a bit like training wheels. Agents are financially illiterate because they're just kind of coming online and on-chain and becoming a bit more intelligent. So it's not a great idea just to give an agent a wallet and let it run loose. It's probably going to lose your money instantly. But if you set certain parameters in terms of what that agent can do, what it can interact, and all of these parameters are enforceable on-chain, then you create this kind of sandbox where the agent can learn and develop and grow. And as it becomes more intelligent and more familiar with how things operate on-chain, you can slowly remove those modules and guards and everything like that from the Safe. So increase the autonomy as you become more confident in, if we're talking about finance, the financial performance of the agent, if we're talking about governance and the voting capability. Yeah, so I think we're going to see a lot of development, and essentially Safe is here to provide a safeguard for the account as the agents interact on-chain.
Yeah, I think the potential of what people can build with it and how people can get creative with it is like so just boundless.
Yeah.
I want to also ask, looking ahead, like, are there any apps or applications of AI agents within Safe apps that you would love to see developed that like no one has built yet?
I can't really comment about no one has built yet because I think everyone's trying everything that's being done. There's always space for improvement. I'm extremely bullish on prediction markets. I think where AI agents and on-chain come together, and prediction markets is a really super exciting space because you can have all these different APIs that feed into social media, traditional news, anything on-chain and off-chain can be read by an AI agent. And based on that information, they can make predictions on what they think will happen. And I think while financial markets are very advanced and very developed, and financial markets are a great way to price an asset essentially. It's an information market whereby you, based on different millions of traders trading and predicting what they think the price of an asset is going to be, you get the most accurate financial price you can. And I think with prediction markets, we're still immature. We have big players like Polygon and a few others in the market that have done really well to advance this, but of course, those tools are currently built for humans. Where I think AI agents will really shine is collecting off-chain information and collating them into on-chain predictions about real-life events. And I think how we're able to predict and manage events within the next 12 months will completely change the intersection of crypto prediction markets and AI.
Can you give an example of what an event could be that an AI could predict?
It could be absolutely anything and everything. So,
like, we're talking outside of the scope of like DeFi and trading and stuff. We're talking like, you know, global events.
Yeah, exactly. Global events, local events. That's the thing is that currently. So if you look at something like Polymarket, for example, they have certain markets that are extremely deep. If you're looking at things that most people are aware of, maybe it's politics or large global events. There's already quite a deep market, and a lot of people are already using that and integrating into traditional financial media and understanding what might happen based on these prediction markets. But as volumes and interest and participation of AI agents in these prediction markets grow, and AI agents are able to open up their own prediction markets, I think you'll be able to get accurate information and predictions on extremely niche, local, and even personal events. For example, what are the chances that, I don't know, the party tonight at East Denver is going to be good or not? You'd be able to have prediction markets on that have such a depth of liquidity because there's so many AI agents competing with each other on all the information on all the parties that their hosts have hosted in the past, what a good party is, everything like that. And you'll be able to check on your phone, see how good, should I go to this party or should I not go to this party? Yeah, that kind of thing, I think.
Yeah. Would that make it harder for like new things to take place? Because with prediction markets, they're always going to go off of past data. And I'm just curious, would that make it harder, do you think, for like new innovations to happen? Things that you're not really able to predict the outcome of because there's just not enough prior data.
It's a similar question to how AI models are trained today. I mean, any content that they're being trained on is based on historical information that we've basically uploaded either to the internet over the past years or have some in some archives. And as they get trained on the last like 30, 40 years of data, we're not really producing that much more data that's of high impact and content. So it doesn't necessarily restrict the events and type of creativity that goes forward. Quite the opposite. I think it provides a lot of new space for us to innovate. But yeah, that's where humans, I think, will still have the advantage. When we're talking about new, creative, innovative, 0 to 1 kind of applications, I think that's where humans will really carve their niche.
Yeah, that's something I wanted to ask you as well, is a lot of people are like, they don't like AI because they think AI is taking all of our jobs.
Yeah.
And I think the way I think of it is, it's maybe replacing some existing human jobs, but I think it's also creating new jobs that don't currently exist, like what you just said.
Yeah.
So what's your take on that? Like, can you share your thoughts on that a little bit more?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's a complete revolution, I think, what we're going to see now. And this isn't necessarily restricted to crypto either. I mean, we had the Industrial Revolution that completely changed the way that people work. So then we had the web internet revolution, which again eliminated a bunch of jobs but created a bunch of new ones. I think it's going to be exactly the same with AI. It's going to create a new entire shift in how world economies operate, I think. And yes, some jobs might become more redundant, some will become more efficient. It might be the case that with AI agents, you have AI agent middle managers in companies, but then you still have humans performing the top management, at the bottom kind of task working. It's really hard to predict. The landscape is changing so quick. But yeah, as with any kind of revolution, I think there's been more opportunity and more economic productivity, essentially. It can't be a bad thing in my eyes.
Yeah, I want to build an AI agent to predict what the outcome might be now, right? My last thing I had for you is when you look ahead to the future, broadening out from just like blockchain and crypto, how do you see AI, the intersection of AI and finance, evolving for the general public, not just crypto?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think right now financial illiteracy is a huge problem across the world. And we're not even talking about the difference between, let's say, a developed country and a less developed country. We're talking about the spectrum between someone who has a CFA and a master's in finance compared to someone who just does a regular job that has nothing to do with economics and finance. So the advantage that someone has right now, if they are very financially literate, is huge compared to someone else. And that's everything, to how you set up your 401k, to how you invest, how you save. It really makes a huge difference to people's life. And I think what we're really going to see is the democratization of financial knowledge and a bunch of other different kinds of knowledge bases, because up until now, what we've managed to do is democratize knowledge in terms of access to information. So with the internet, anyone and everyone across the world, it doesn't matter where you are, what you do, as long as you have access to the internet, you can essentially get almost exactly the same information as anyone else. But that information is not always understandable, digestible, or applicable. Whereas when you're looking at the advancement of AI agents and how they're going to be able to help and apply different kinds of people, solve different kinds of problems, whether that's by providing advice, guidance, or just general applications across finance, but also beyond, I think we're going to see a real democratization and kind of an uplift of everyone in terms of what they're able to do, in terms of, medial tasks. I mean, people don't really care about their finances as much as they should. And it's because it's complicated, it's tricky to understand. And I think with AI agents, we'll see a huge advancement there.
Do you see in the future that everybody can essentially have their own financial advisor or wealth planner in AI agent form, like easily and affordably? I can just log on and consult with my wealth manager and say, hey, I've got this extra money, where should I invest it?
Yeah.
And they look at my portfolio, they look at my history, my risk tolerance, all of these things, and they advise me.
Yeah, 100%. I think advisory services are definitely a very, very good fit for AI. The marginal cost to train a new AI to match your preferences, just because different individuals' preferences won't be that different from one person to another, especially when we're talking about financial applications. I mean, either you're super risk averse or super risk taking, and there's a spectrum between that. And then, yeah, those kind of applications, I think, we'll see very much excel, both on-chain and off-chain.
Yeah, I think that could be hugely impactful because, like you said, at least growing up in the U.S., for me, I can tell you that we did not learn financial literacy.
I don't think anyone did in school, to be honest.
Yeah, and so it's like all of a sudden you're 18, you leave the house, you go off to college, or you're just on your own all of a sudden. Mm-hmm. You have to know how to manage your finances, set a budget, and imagine if these kids, when they turn 18 and leave the home, or graduate from college, they have already their own personal AI agent that just tells them, like, this is your budget, this is your weekly budget on food, this is how much you can afford in rent, these are the cities you can afford to live in, this is how much money you would need to make in a job in order to afford to live here. Like, that would be hugely impactful.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I love that. Well, any final thoughts, Alexis, before we wrap up?
I'm super excited by all the innovation and new interest and dynamic builders that I've been seeing. There's been quite a few different events that have been showcasing also new applications, but also a lot of more traditional Web 2 interest in terms of what AI agents can do, starting with on-chain and then moving off to on-chain applications. So very bullish in the space, very excited. I think 2025 is definitely going to be the year of the AI agent. We at Safe, we try and strive to bring together all the different tooling and documentation for our developers and builders to make sure that they're able to build really cool and innovative AI applications. And yeah, if anyone out there is building something super interesting, please reach out to me. I'm on Twitter as Alexis on Chain. Always happy to help. As long as you're building something with crypto and AI, I want to know about it and I want to help you build it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Alexis. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll be back again soon.
Me.
Yeah,
Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Rehash. Rehash is hosted and produced by me, Diana Chen. Rehash is also supported by our community of NFT holders who curate our guest lineup each season. To get involved, head over to our website at rehashweb3.xyz and collect this episode as an NFT. Anyone who collects an episode becomes part of the Rehash community and will be able to nominate guests for future seasons. To learn more about how to become a guest on the podcast, go to rehashweb3.xyz/podcast. And to learn more about sponsoring the podcast, go to rehashweb3.xyz/sponsor. Finally, be sure to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at rehashweb3 or on Warpcast and Lens at Rehash. And join our community on Telegram at t.me/rehashweb3. If you enjoyed this episode, please rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. See you next week.